Okay, we're going to start our notes on all about angles. This is angle pairs and their relationships. If you look at this first picture right here, we're talking about coplanar angles that have a common vertex. Okay, and in this picture, that common vertex is point A, right here. Okay, they have one common side, but no common interior points. So right here, they are sharing ray AC. They have that side in common. These two angles are called adjacent angles. A-D-J-A-C-E-N-T. They are adjacent. Now, the next one, as you look at it, kind of got crossways here. They are two non-adjacent angles, so they're not side by side, formed by two intersecting lines. So that would be like angle 1 and angle 2 right here. Do you see how they're reflections of each other? But they're not adjacent. They do not share a common side. These are called vertical angles. Okay, and we also have right here 3 and 4 is another example of vertical angles. I'm going to put 2 hoops on them so you can see that they go together. Now, one thing that I do to help me remember is I can actually say vertical angles. Look at that. Isn't that neat? So it's showing you an example, and it says the word, what it is. Awesome! Our last word on this slide, it says two adjacent angles whose non-common sides are two rays going in opposite direction. Okay, so we have these two angles back to back. They are adjacent, and together they form 180 degrees. They make a line. So these two angles are actually called a linear pair. L-I-N-E-A-R, pair. And it's really nice when you know you have a linear pair because you know, come on, pen work, that they make a line and they add up to 180 degrees. So it's really nice when that happens. Okay, we have another set of angle pairs here. This one says the sum of the measures of the two angles is 90 degrees. So these have to add up to 90. They are called complementary angles. Complementary angles. Now, notice the picture that they showed us here, we have 60 and 30. They are not sharing a side. They are not adjacent. Now, your complementary angles, all they have to do is add up to 90. So, if we have two angles that are side by side right here, this one's 30, this one's 60, do they still add up to 90? Yeah. So they may share a side. They can be apart or they can be together, but they have to add up to 90. Now, okay, the second one down here at the bottom says the sum of the measures of two angles is 180 degrees. So when they add up to 180, like these two down here, this is called supplementary angles. And like complementary angles, they just have to add up to their magic number. They have to add up to 180. So you can see these two, they're separate, but they add up to 180, so they are supplementary. We could also have, let's say we have 30, and over here this is 150. Okay, these two add up to 180. So they are supplementary even though they share a side right here. Now, some people get these two confused because they are pretty close, but the one that adds up to 90 starts with a C, and the one that adds up to 180 starts with an S. So you can think C comes before S, 90 comes before 180. There's one way to remember it. Another way is if we put a line on this first letter, we can see 90 right there. If we put a line on this first letter, you kind of see an 8 to help you think 180. Okay, at the bottom of our page, we're going to go over these theorems right here. The first one is the most important. It says vertical angles are, and the answer is congruent. Okay, and if you want to use for your symbol for congruent, you can do the equal sign with a little wave above it. You can do that if you would like, or you can go ahead and just write the word. But that's the most important one today. The next one says if two angles are supplementary to the same angle or to congruent angles, then they are congruent. The last one says if two angles are complementary to the same angle or to congruent angles, they are congruent. If they have to add up to be the same number like that one, for it to be 90 degrees, and they gotta match. It's the only way it'll work. Important. Okay, we got a couple questions on the back side here, and we have our picture to help us out for 10 and 11. The first one says, if the measure of angle AOC is 16x minus 20, and the measure of angle BOD is 13x plus 7, find the value of x and the degree measure of the angles. So, we're going to go ahead and label that information that they gave us. AOC, when you follow those, AOC, that's the top. So this top is 16x minus 20. Okay, and then BOD, that's the bottom right here. 13x plus 7. You always want to label the information they give you. Now we can go in and use it. Okay, look at where those angles are to each other. Do you see how they're reflections of each other? Those are vertical angles. And vertical angles, we just learned, are congruent. So to solve for x, we need to set them equal. Now I'm going to make that a little smaller. I'm going to do my work down here. It is 16x minus 20 equals 13x plus 7. So I'm going to get my x's on the same side. Go ahead and subtract 13 over. And that's going to leave me 3x minus 20 equals 7. So I add the 20. And I have 3x equals 27. Divide by 3. And we end up with x equals 9. Now they want both of those angles, so you will have to plug those in to get your measures. Okay, if we take a look, okay, so we're going to look at the next one, number 11. Let me get rid of some of this down here. There we go. And we also want to get rid of, that's one way to do it. Alright, so number 11, it says the measure of angle AOB is 4x plus 15, and that's over here. And the measure of angle AOC is 3x plus 25. So AOC, that's this one right here. 3x plus 15. Find the degree measures of angle AOB and angle AOC. Now for this problem, notice that together, where these are located, they're not vertical angles, they're not congruent, but they are side by side, and together they form a line. So how many degrees are they going to add up to? How many degrees are in a line? Yeah, they got to add up to 180. So when you set these up, we're going to do 4x plus 15 plus 3x plus 15. I'm sorry, it's 25. I wrote it up here wrong. Plus 25 equals 180. Okay, these have got to add up to 180. So you're going to solve for your x and then plug in both angles and get those measures. This is the last problem I have for you. It is talking about x and y are complementary angles. So you got to remember what that word means, complementary. They're going to add up to 90. So you are going to take these two values and add them up. 3x plus 7 plus 6x plus 20, and it has to add up to be complementary. So it's going to add up to be 90. Okay, so you're going to do your algebra here, get x, and it wants to know the degree measure of each angle. So you'll have to plug it back in to both of these expressions. Okay, good luck.